Welcome to this week's Movie Math, as Steve Carell made his career disappear. Yes, Hollywood was indeed astounded and amazed as one of its biggest comedic stars went up in smoke, debuting at number 3 with just over 10 million. But while the suits might be scratching their heads as to how this trick was done, if you look carefully, you can easily see how Carell pulled it off. Hot off of Get Smart and Date Night, Carell mistakenly believed he was the draw for those movies rather than their high concepts. Eager to cash in, he decided to go all in on his new movie career and jumped ship from The Office. Now, one could debate whether or not it was his absence from everyday pop culture or simple lack of quality that caused his follow-up films to slowly backslide at the box office. But maybe it was both. And to be fair, he was most likely encouraged by mega-hit Despicable Me. However, voiceover success doesn't necessarily translate into live-action success. Just ask Tim Allen. But one thing that Carell has, or had, that Allen never had is sex appeal. There is a reason his biggest hits are The 40-Year-Old Virgin, Get Smart, Date Night, and Crazy Stupid Love. Hopefully someone will clue Carell in and do it fast, as he doesn't have any more rom-coms lined up. Instead, it's more Will Ferrell copycat scripts and one Oscar bait flick where he tries to pull a Robin Williams or Jim Carrey and go serious, which didn't really work for either of them. Case in point, Carrey is also stuck in Burt Wonderstone. This is more bad news for Warner Brothers, who is 0 for 5 this year so far. That only makes it all the more imperative that their summer slate delivers. But you know who did deliver this weekend at the box office? Halle Berry. Ring ring, Halle, I think that's your comeback calling. After decades of trying to appeal to male audiences with low points such as her topless scene in Swordfish and all of Catwoman, Berry finally decided to go after female audiences and won big. Sony aggressively targeted women with their ad campaign, highlighting that in the call when a teenage girl is in trouble, it's another woman to the rescue. It was a very clever move, as it is indeed a refreshing change of pace to have an unassuming older female hero rather than the voguing ingenues that have become so commonplace. This is Berry's biggest box office opening since Catwoman, although this time with a budget of just $13 million instead of $100 million, it's a good thing. As for the rest of the box office, Oz continued to be great and powerful, falling about just 45% in its second weekend. Alice in Wonderland fell almost exactly the same amount in its second weekend, although by that point it had passed the 200 million mark. Still, Oz can boast that by its second weekend it's become the highest grossing film of the year, both here and worldwide, and still has one more weekend of smooth sailing before it gets caught up in its own tornado, when G.I. Joe Retaliation, The Host, and Tyler Perry's Temptation all hit theaters on March 29th. As for James Franco, when it rains, it pours, and he certainly is making it rain on the box office. Not only is he riding high with Disney's Oz, but his indie flick Spring Breakers, opening in just 3 theaters, delivered a stellar per-theater average of 90,000. That's up there with the debut averages for The Tree of Life, The King's Speech, and There Will Be Blood. We'll have to wait and see if Harmony Korine has finally hit the big time, or if audiences are simply eager to see his teen star self-destruct and then move on. Elsewhere in the top 10, while they were mostly ordinary and weak, at least the other movies were able to slow their bleeding. Most drops were in the high 20s or low 30s percentage-wise, with the exception of 21 and Over, which dropped almost 50% and only now managed to go over 21 million. As for this coming weekend, as I just noted, Oz has little competition coming its way. But if anyone can beat it, Hollywood is betting once again it will be another 3D visual feast, this time The Croods. And after Rise of the Guardians, DreamWorks Animation sure could use a good headline. And that's the weekend box office. I'm Grace Randolph, and we just did some movie math. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope you'll go beyond the trailer for these other top movies.